Let's check in with Maddie real quick, because apparently there's some more madness going on with Xbox currently. Let's see what's going on with that. Xbox rumors are getting crazy. Mohammed, thank you for the 25. Thank you, my friend. I'm tossing money. Love you, man. I love you too. Thank you, my friend. That's very generous. Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly.
Everybody, it is Maddie here today, sitting down to talk about a number of Xbox rumors. And unfortunately for Xbox, none of this is really good news. Now, I imagine a lot of this will be swept under the rug as we're finally starting to get first-party games from Xbox. Minecraft Legends is a couple of weeks out. I'm quietly interested in that one. We also have Redfall in just a number of weeks too, so a lot's going to start happening. I thought it was important to cover all these rumors now. One of them is actually circling back to the topic revolving around Square Enix and the lack of support that they're giving Xbox. Is it their fault? Is it Xbox's? We went all in on that conversation, but now it's continuing with a couple more rumors. Also, it's being reported that Xbox is removing a major feature that fans aren't too pleased with despite the legality of the situation. And last but not least, we got a couple of Activision Blizzard updates as it looks like things are moving toward an approval, and PlayStation, they're kicking and squirming, that's for sure. No shame whatsoever. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here...
Dude, it's about to get so funny. PlayStation's about to start just freaking out. It's going to be really, really funny. Just wait. I'm buckled in. You guys know I am convinced that this Activision deal will go through. Forgive the buzzy noise. I have the AC on again. And as a result, I put my money where my mouth is. I'm not one of these like creators who just rambles about things and then when I'm wrong, I just go, oh, I kind of said that all along. No, I'm putting my money on the line. So if it goes through, I will make money. If it doesn't, I will lose some money because that seems only fair to me. However, that being said, Sony is freaking out because I think they know also the deal's about to go through, and they are scraping at finding any reason they can freak out about this. And man, it's pretty funny.
And you're into Xbox news and information, consider subscribing. Let's begin at the top with Square Enix. This one continues to be a fascinating topic to me because as someone who absolutely loves JRPGs, I want to see Xbox involved in all of them. Not just in the terms of current ones releasing, but going back to the 360 days where we'd have Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon. Shout out to Mistwalker, man. Great times. But we can't even fathom the idea of an exclusive JRPG over on Xbox. And it definitely hurts a little bit more when Square Enix, when you look at the JRPG scene, there are many producers, but Square does bring out the most. You look at Live Alive, Octopath Traveler, all the Final Fantasy games like Pixel Remasters now coming out in a couple weeks, and we've learned once more, it will not be on Xbox. There have been a lot of suggestions on what's going on here as we dove into in that video. Is it Xbox's fault? Are they not doing enough to support Square Enix? Is Square Enix not doing their part in considering the Xbox customer base? Or is it somewhere in the middle where PlayStation is middling in, which I put the caboose on? It could be anything, but it seems like now rumors are suggesting that it's something deeply wrong with Xbox and Square Enix's relationship. This comes from Dad of Xbox, Jez Corden over at Windows Central. Let's read what he had to say, and then we'll discuss a bit. In the article he wrote about what's going on with Pixel Remaster and Octopath, Jez said, increasingly, I've been hearing rumors that there is something functionally wrong with the relationship between Microsoft and Square Enix. Square Enix has only been offering Xbox a very limited selection of titles from its catalog, including games like Stranger's Paradise and Diofield Chronicle, neither of which reviewed particularly spectacularly. Despite Octopath Traveler launching on Xbox and even into Xbox Game Pass, the sequel is nowhere to be found and likely isn't coming. So a couple of people came to Jez and said things like this: this is not on Xbox as much as you may want it to be, and Jez said, that's not what I've heard. And then meanwhile, someone says, this ain't even Xbox's fault, and Jez again says, not what I have been hearing. Okay, let's...
That is really interesting. I don't even know what that would mean. Like Xbox isn't talking with them, or Xbox hasn't offered them good payouts or something. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, let's be honest. I do think it is a hole in the Microsoft catalog right now, the JRPG and generally just Japanese support and titles. However, I think it's you know, strategic. I don't think they see JRPGs as like a real priority, I guess, because they know they have mostly membership in the West. So I just don't think they see the need to put a lot of time and money and effort into building out that stuff with Japanese developers, you know. Pixelation Loss. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a member.
Hypothesize. The relationship is falling apart here. I mean, it clearly makes sense. It kind of spells itself out before our very eyes when you see the lack of games. But how could this have come to be? You think about Xbox Game Pass and where it was in its life cycle, and where Outriders of all games came in as the perfect kickstart to the third-party day one Game Pass train. Now it's a service norm, and now we're getting bigger and better games than ever before day one that we could only imagine. I go back to Wolong, MLB The Show. These are games that I would pay top dollar for, but they're coming to the service free of charge. But it all really began in the third-party capacity with Outriders, and that was a Square Enix published game. So when everyone saw that, we thought, well, when it rains, it pours. Come on in, Square Enix. Let's see what you've got for us. Any other games? And when we saw Octopath, okay, JRPG support. Let it begin. Let's turn this narrative around. We need Square for this because, you know, Xbox has managed to court the likes of Sega with Persona, but Square is a whole different beast. So when you see Octopath and it's not on PlayStation, it did seem to reflect that some type of partnership was developing there. To me, if you use that as the checkpoint, then what changed between then and now? And it's very hard for any of us to know, which is why you've got people saying this isn't Xbox's fault. We can only guess. And you've got Jez, who at least has some idea of what's going on the inside, saying, not quite. It actually is something to do with the relationship. And so what that exactly means is anybody's guess. But if it does come down to the relationship, and you see PlayStation taking advantage of it, wisely as they should, you look at the hype for Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 14, and that continued JRPG presence they have, it's a big part of their console identity, and that's important. They're reinforcing that. So PlayStation is wise to leap on the kind of weak relationship that Xbox and Square are having. And I feel bad for Xbox fans who love JRPGs, but I have to say that, in fairness, it's not just Square Enix. Capcom, let's take a look at them. Mega Man Battle Network, coming out next week. Cannot wait for this game. Absolutely love this series. No Xbox support. And Capcom, I mean, when you look at how well their games are doing between Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, they got more money than God right now. And the fact that they couldn't even wither out a little port for ye old Xbox for Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which I am of the mindset, as someone who loved the series growing up, that was my Pokemon, I feel could use all the love it can get. And even that couldn't get an Xbox port, but it got the Zero collection and the ZX collection and the X Legacy collection. Something foul is going on between Xbox and I think multiple companies in Japan. And I'm not sure what it is. Resources, assets, funding, Game Pass, or nothing. There are so many things we're just not privy to, but what we're hearing now is it's a relationship issue. So we'll see how it develops, but quite the interesting rumor nonetheless. Speaking of Game Boy Advance games like Battle Network, a lot of y'all like emulation, and Xbox, while they can't market it because of the legality of it, like, hey, come download all these games that you don't own, they have slowly turned into the emulation machine. There are plenty of videos you can watch online of all these various channels setting up emulation software on their Xbox. And now we're seeing here, according to Modern Vintage Gamer, he says, hearing reports that Microsoft has blocked emulators in retail mode. Can't say I'm surprised. Stick to dev mode where it's a walled off sandbox. Now, where this rumor develops beyond this is now it's being suggested Xbox is looking into their own official emulator of some kind. So let's read a reply in the tweet thread, which comes from a developer at Azure, who says that this email had come from a Xbox QA employee. I'll copy and paste my email from a friend at the Xbox QA team. Hi there. Thanks for getting in touch with us about the recent ban on emulators on the Xbox storefront. We appreciate your interest and concerns. To answer your questions, the primary reason for the ban is related to the legal issues with Nintendo. While emulating itself is not illegal, it can be used to play games from consoles that are still under copyright protection without permission, which can create issues with Nintendo and its affiliates. Additionally, we take security seriously, and some emulators require permissions beyond what is typical for an app. This could create a potential security risk, as the permissions can be exploited by bad actors to gain access to sensitive information. For these reasons, we have made the decision to ban emulators on the Xbox storefront. However, we understand that many users have dev mode enabled to run legal emulation. We don't seek to remove this ability, as it does not grant access to the retail components of the system and is considered safe. Unlike retail emulators, dev mode is limited to certain functionalities and does not have system read-write functionality. That said, we are exploring ways to allow safe and legal emulation on Xbox. We are in talks with legitimate emulator developers to bring their software onto our platform while ensuring that all copyright laws and safety protocols are followed. We appreciate your understanding and patience as we work through this issue. Our goal is to provide a safe and enjoyable gaming experience for everyone, and we are committed to finding a solution that meets those goals. If you have any further questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. Best regards, whomever wrote this. We shall never know. What if...
Are you ready for the Luke Stevens hot take of the day? You ready? Are you ready? I'm ready. Buckle in. You remember how I insisted that like NFTs, saying NFTs are a scam is like one way to prove that you're a dumbass and you don't actually think things through before you say them. This is a reason why. I think NFTs as a technology, non-fungible tokens, could actually, ironically enough, be used as a great force of good in the industry, specifically if they were used to create a non-fungible token on digital copies of games that you purchase. Say, for example, this will never happen, by the way, because it would lose companies money and they miss out on sales. But the technology could be used where you could buy a copy of Breath of the Wild, for example, and that has an NFT, a non-fungible token associated with it, registered on an exchange or on a blockchain rather, that can be verified. You own that copy of the game. You own that. And then you could plug that into the emulator and it could read that out and be like, oh, you own this copy. Okay, so then you can play the emulated version on your PC. You could play it on your Switch. You could play it wherever you want. That could be a cool thing. It will never happen, though. Never. Because again, why would they do that when they can just try to sell you 2 copies in most situations? There's no reason they couldn't do that with non-fungible tokens, however. However, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, it would be just like having a unique ID. And that is, at its core, what NFTs allow you to do, to have a unique ID that specifically can be verified because it's tied to a blockchain. So it can be verified as a thing. So that is technically possible. Also, I mean, you don't even need necessarily NFTs to do this. You could also do it just with unique digital identifiers, like a license for software or something. You know, when you buy like maybe a Steam key wouldn't be a great example because it's, you know, not very complex. But if it's like a 30-digit or like a stream key for streaming on Twitch or YouTube, where it's like a 30-digit thing. And if you kept that private and secure and that's your copy of the game, you could verify it within an emulator, proving you bought the game and you own the copy of it. There's ways to do this, and it could work out where you could take your copy of the game across different platforms. Again, it'll never happen, but it could. It's technically possible, but this is why, again, I find when people just say something blank, like NFTs are a scam, it's like, you have to be a little more precise, because what the NFT grifters are going to do is they're going to come along and show how that doesn't make any sense. And then they're going to sell the people who don't know any better something that is an actual scam using NFTs. But NFTs by themselves are not a scam. Just like crypto is not inherently a scam. It can be used to scam people. And I would say if you look on like the volume of total crypto exchanges and stuff, probably a large proportion, a plurality perhaps, are used for scam purposes. However, crypto is not inherently a scam. Microshare real estate is not inherently a scam, but it can be used for scam stuff like in timeshares and things. So you have to be more precise, because when you're not precise, grifters and snake oil salesmen come in, show how you don't know what you're talking about, and then go like, see, victim, they don't know what they're talking about. They just said something stupid. So you can trust me. Then they come in and they sell you on the scam that uses the NFTs. But because they won the favor of these other people, it can cause trouble. Timeshare is not inherently a scam. No, again, like if we're being precise, I agree. It's not inherently a scam. It can often be used, and timeshares can turn into scams. I had a guy that lost about $80,000. I was selling a duplex that he owned, and this was when I worked in real estate, of course. And so I was selling his duplex to a guy, and the deal couldn't close because he had like a crazy timeshare from years ago that was tied up into his credit report, and it had been sold between 15 different companies. And it, like, very long story short, they had scammed him out of like $60,000, $70,000 or $80,000 when you counted closing fees and all that stuff that he had to deal with. But not all timeshares are a scam, but many of them can be. You just have to be cautious. But I agree. We must be precise.
this ends up being true, Xbox looking into emulation technology on a more legal front would make some kind of sense when you look at something along the lines of the backwards compatibility program. I'm not going to pretend to know the ins and outs of it, so I'm not going to shoot too high above my pay grade here, but to my knowledge, that is a degree of emulation technology, right? The idea, the gimmick is you put your disc in, but really the disc is like the unlock key to the emulation that is installed on your Xbox.
Oh, Slug, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Thank you.
So you do get backwards compatibility in that way, and that's how they allow you to upgrade the imaging to a certain extent and get the most accurate representation of the original product. I'm curious if they'll build off of that. I'm curious if they're going to go another
200 a day. I don't know. If we can get this to 200, that'd be baller. That'd be baller. We probably need gifteds. That's a lot, but yeah, that's a lot. But it's possible. I believe in you guys. 30 more members by the end of the day. We can do it.
Another route, and how you do circumnavigate that. When the Xbox Series consoles first dropped, the talk of it was Game Pass. I mean, let's be honest, they didn't have any launch games to talk about. So it was Game Pass, and then that's right, it was emulation. It was a really interesting launch cycle for Xbox compared to PlayStation, which had your traditional launch with the amazing Astro Bot and Demon's Souls remake, like 2 fantastic games. Whereas Xbox, it was the gimmicks, the services. It was a very peculiar launch cycle for that console. But this is significant. And if they do end up blocking it and removing it, granted, there is dev mode, but this is starting to piss a lot of people off. So we'll see how Xbox responds to it in a legal manner, if at all, and if this email is even true at all. But then again, Dolphin is coming over to Steam in the second quarter of this year. And
yeah, I still don't know how that's possible. How the hell is Dolphin coming to Steam? That doesn't make any sense. For me, I mean, mainly the reason that they showed in the picture, the reason that Dolphin coming to Steam would be a big boost is because you could use it on the Steam Deck. And that would make it so like you could take like Breath of the Wild to go on your Steam Deck. It would make it so you could take Animal Crossing City Folk on the go with the Steam Deck. Like it actually could be really, really cool. Really, really cool. I have no idea how they're going to deal with it legally. It's really surprised me that they're figuring this out. Man, I don't know. Also, I've been watching you for a while now, and I really enjoy your content. Glad to be a member finally. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're a member as well. That's awesome. You'll be able to come to the members only streams and stuff now too.
And with that, it is a legal software, but it does not include any games. You must...
Simu is not Dolphin. Oh yeah, no, you're right. Simu is the one for Breath of the Wild. Dolphin is the one I used for Animal Crossing City Folk and that Harry Potter World Cup, those GameCube games. So like Harvest Moon, those kinds of things would work on it. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Simu is the Switch one.
Legally own the games,
or the to be precise, the Wii U emulator.
And then it's compatible with that. But I think Xbox is aware that most of those games aren't going to be acquired in the most legal of ways.
This makes me really appreciate the remake. I know some people really don't mind the old graphics and the look of these OG titles, but man, I look at this and I'm like, I'm so glad we got the remake. Because, dear God, we've come so far. It's a great thing, but man, Resi 4 needed a remake. That's great. Chris, thank you, Chris. We're on our way, guys. We're getting there. We're on our way, slowly but surely. We're doing it. The emulators aren't an issue legally. The ROMs are. Okay, I guess that makes sense because the emulator's just like what you're mounting the ROM onto to run it and interpret the data. It's how you justify getting it, and even then, like, I think most of the websites that you get your ROMs for say like you need to make sure you own it. So, but like, who's gonna tell? Like, who knows? You know, I don't know. It's tricky. It's tricky. I know, like, I don't emulate any games unless I own them. That's the deal I've made, is that I'm not gonna like pirate games or anything. What I do is, like, if I own Breath of the Wild, I don't have any ethical or moral qualms with an emulation because I've paid the price, right? So like I've done my time. I've done it. Thank you, Kenneth. Dude, we're on our way. We're on our way. Slowly but surely.
I'm win.
Ooh, that was way louder than I thought it would be. Thank you.
But if they can support it, it's
Jump
another
scared
bonus
myself.
to their box. So I imagine maybe Dolphin, if they're going to Steam, is one that they're talking to. And I'm curious how that will go, because that would certainly make a lot of headlines if Dolphin had branched out to consoles in a more official capacity than this application people are downloading on their computers. We'll see, but very curious to see how Xbox handles it. Let's move on to our last story here, which has to do with Activision Blizzard. You see, what's going on with this deal has been fascinating because it just highlights that none of us truly know. You know, toward the end of 2022, with the Game Awards and everything going on with Xbox, the deal getting blocked by the FTC, it was looking grim for a month or two, and now suddenly it's turned around. Now we have the CM.
What if the game is so rare it's like $500? Would you buy it then? I mean, I guess I would just need to know what game that is, because I personally, I'm not really into the retro stuff. I don't collect any of it. Like I don't really know, so I'm not sure what game that would be referring to. I know like some Morton, thank you. That's awesome. We're on our way, guys. I know some games, like I think it was Emerald, Pokemon Emerald. I think that one is like $40-50 for an OG, like actual copy, or you can buy like whatever they call them, imitation copies, or I mean they're basically just copy and pasted versions of it, but you can buy those for like I think $5 by comparison. Rule of Rose is 500. I mean, that to me, I guess that's more of a collector's item. Granted, it gets tricky. My personal ethical decision I've made is that I will only emulate if I've purchased a copy. But once you get to old versions of the game, like, or older games, it like that whole idea of the ethical justification goes out the window, because there aren't first-party copies being sold. So you're not paying the actual creator for it. You're paying some guy in Ohio that has a copy for it, right? And so I think if the only option is a secondhand copy, that gets into a total ethical, moral gray area where, you know, like, what are you supposed to do? Send Nintendo a check for $60 or something? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it gets tricky. Once they've stopped selling it, as far as, like, my knee-jerk reaction would be if they've stopped selling it through official means, where you literally cannot give them money anymore for it. At that point, I wouldn't consider it a bad thing to choose to emulate it, you know? Yeah. Oh, geez. Thank you, Austin. Thank you. Man, we're popping off. You guys are crazy. Jesus, run.
EMA backing the deal. The EU is still coming to a decision as we are awaiting that. And obviously,
What's
as
up,
the
Steffi?
FTC gets backed more and more into a corner, they're not going to have much of a leg to stand on to challenge Microsoft, and the deal will likely go through as it's being reported. However, because of that, PlayStation went from one position of strength to now playing defenseless again. And while it doesn't fall more into the rumor category, the rumor is the deal will go through. What PlayStation is saying now blows my mind. And I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic, because I cover Xbox stuff here. Y'all know I love PlayStation, but I'm very stunned by this being said here. Let's just read and I'll explain why. This comes from Pure Xbox. The quote is, any degradation in the price, performance, or quality of play on PlayStation in regards to Call of Duty, or any delays on release would quickly harm SIE's reputation and cause a loss of engagement and players. As SIE's CEO, Jim Ryan, explained to the CMA at the Remedies hearing, if PlayStation received a degraded version of Call of Duty, it would seriously damage our reputation. Our gamers would desert our platform in droves, and network effects would exacerbate the problem. Our business would never recover. So there's no doubt that...
And again, this is so delicious. So delicious. Because Sony just released, like, last week. Oh, baby. Joaquim. There you go. Welcome. Joaquim, thank you so much. 5 gifteds. That's insane. Welcome, everybody. Jeez, that'll do. That'll do. That'll do. Dante, welcome. Got a gifted. Matthias got gifted one. Ian Beeson got gifted one. Charles Rose got gifted a membership. And Crispy all got gifted. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. And thank you again, Joaquin. That's awesome. Appreciate you. You could try to do a subathon thing on YouTube. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Proto. We could totally do that. Yeah, hype train, choo choo. Everybody scream, spam choo choo in chat. Thank you, my friend. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah, no, it's really delicious that Sony's complaining about like ports being poorly designed and like poorly optimized, and thus making their brand and their hardware look worse by comparison. And then meanwhile they're coming along like this, and then like they're doing the same exact thing. It's so funny to me. It's like, oh, the pot is calling the kettle black. That's what it is. The pot is calling the kettle black. Is it not?
But the entire deal here with Xbox and Activision is circled around Call of Duty. I say that because now we got like the New York Times saying that there's a surprise hit in Diablo 4. Like, that's how much Call of Duty is monopolized. If there's any monopoly, it's Call of Duty monopolizing the conversation that Blizzard and all its popular games are just sliding down in. And Xbox is like, yeah, you keep arguing about Call of Duty. Let's just get Diablo in here, get Overwatch in, quick, come on. And whatever else is up next from Blizzard. These games are going to be huge for Xbox. So I'm sure they're almost half.
Yeah, tight. Thank you. That's most definitely what's up. You're damn right.
That's most definitely what's up.
You gotta play the Thomas the Tank Engine music when you reach 200 subs. Okay, yeah. If we reach 200, especially by the end of the stream, if we reach 200, I will play the full Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah.
Happy the focus is on Call of Duty because it distracts from all these other extremely popular games that will make their system even more appealing. But when Jim Ryan says something like this, I know his job is to protect PlayStation, and so he's got to kind of take the egg on the face and play defenseless to try to win over regulators, because now PlayStation is not pleased with the decision that the CMA is likely coming to. But when you pretty much admit, we were bad at managing our company, therefore you shouldn't allow this through, I don't know if any regulator is going to hear that out. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're saying we will never recover without Call of Duty, if we get a damaged version of Call of Duty, our business would be damaged forever. You're putting all of your eggs in the third-party basket, and that just says to regulators, you've operated your business in the wrong way. It's not on us to fix your poorly run business, which, by the way, PlayStation doesn't run a poor business before anyone goes crazy with that. But they're going to say, it's not on us to fix that. It's on you to fix that. And, oh, you've got a number of first-person shooter IPs and other cool, popular things, 3D mascots like Sly Cooper, that you should do a show, a movie, and a video game for. You could revive these, and you would still have a leg to stand on, for sure. You just got to invest in different things that aren't Call of Duty, which, by the way, you're still going to get. And when this comes after Jim Ryan says that I don't want a new Call of Duty deal, I just want to block your merger, we already knew this was the case, right? This was very obviously the case. It was hilarious, but this was obviously what PlayStation always wanted to do. Now that they're being matter of fact about it, then they see this decision. You can see now the politics of it, clear as day. Like, I think we've all learned together the politics of this acquisition. Now it's no longer, I just want to block your merger because you're in a strong position. Now it's, we will be damaged forever. How could you do this? You're going to ruin us. And PlayStation will run no problem after all this is said and done. Believe you me. But that is the rumor right now, that the deal.
Yeah, no, it's not the regulator's fault that Sony is ill prepared. You know, it's just not. It's just not. Like, yeah, it sucks if you're Sony, but you got to figure it out. And then also, you know, this whole situation has just reminded me of a saying that actually was brought up. I don't remember who said it. Maybe I can Google it real quick and it'll pop up. Who said it? Do they even know? I don't think they know. I think it's just a saying people say. Anyway, the term is that when you are used to privilege, equality feels like discrimination. And that seems to be Sony's position right now. They're like, we're used to just being able to float by and do whatever we want. And now we have to play fair and Microsoft is going to have exclusives. That's not okay. He took my thing.